Shalom everyone, and welcome again to our sessions of Parashat Bo for this week. In Parashat Bo, I titled the class as the unique nature of a Jewish holiday. And we will try to explore together and to learn together what is really the uniqueness, what is so special in a Jewish Chag, in a Jewish holiday. So if we look at the first source, we see few psukim that we will need to try to analyze together. Vayushav et Moshe vet Aharon el Paro. So after Pharaoh got very upset with Moshe and Aaron, and he told them, please get out of my palace. The plagues came along, and Pharaoh was upset, so he called back Moshe and Aaron, and he told them, Vayomer alehem, and he told them, Lechu ivdu et Hashem Elokechem, mi vami aolchem. You know what? You came with a request that I will let you go to celebrate a holiday for your God. Fine, I'll agree with it. Give me a list of the people that will go and celebrate the holiday. Vayomer Moshe, so Moshe answered Pharaoh, Bineareinu uvizkenenu nelech, be'evaneinu uvivnoteinu, betzonenu uvivkareinu nelech, ki chag Hashem lanu. So Moshe answers Pharaoh, he says, we are all going. There is no list. Our children, our elders, boys, girls, men, women, everyone, flock, everyone is going to what? To celebrate God's holiday. And ki, which is a reason, it's a word that describes a reason, ki, chag Hashem lanu. Because this is a chag, this is a holiday for Hashem and for us, and therefore we are all going to leave Mitzrayim. Vayomer alehem, so Pharaoh responded to Moshe and Aaron. He says to them, Yehi chen Hashem imachem. Yeah, that's wonderful. May God bless you. Ka'asher ashalach etchem ve'et tapchem re'u ki ra'a neget pneichem. You think that God will bless such an exodus? That you take your children to the desert, you take your boys and girls? Ma pitom, that should not happen. Lo chen. לכו נא הגברים ועבדו את השם כי אותה אתם מבקשים. No. Only the men can go because that's what you really are asking for. ויגרש אותם מאת פני פרעה. And Paro basically asked them to leave immediately the palace. Now, let's digress for a second and let's try to describe to us what's exactly going on here. What is the drama that is going on here? We can only also understand already that Pharaoh is feel the stress, the pressure. He already start to submit himself to the idea that he need to let go. So he says to Moshe and Aaron, okay, I'll let you go and celebrate for 3 days and then you come back. But give me a list of the people who are going to leave. And he thinks it's going to be a list of, I don't know, few thousand people, and then they will come back because their families are there. And Moshe says to him, no, there is no list. We are all going. And Pharaoh says to him, what are you talking about? That's impossible. Why would you want to take your children to the desert to celebrate? No one does it. Therefore, you are lying to me. If you want to go out to celebrate your holiday, take the men. If not, stay here. What exactly is the point of dispute between Moshe and Pharaoh? Why was that so foreign? Why it was such a foreign concept for Pharaoh that the entire Jewish people going to celebrate together? Children, boys and girls, men and women will celebrate together. Why was that such a foreign concept for Pharaoh? So I think, and by learning all the commentators, we will see that these few psukim, these few verses, will basically reveal to us the uniqueness of a Jewish holiday. So the first commentator is the Ramban, Nachmanides. And he says the following, Mi vami haolchim. So that's what Pharaoh asked Moshe, give me a list. Who is going? היה פרעה רוצה שילכו ראשיהם, זקניהם ושוטריהם. אנשים אשר נקבו בשמות. Which means Pharaoh thought that who should go? The leaders of the people, the elders, maybe some of the police officers, people of importance. So they will go, they will celebrate, and then they will come back. ומשה ענהו, and Moshe answered him, כי גם הבנים והבנות ילכו. It's not only about the important people. It's not only about the leaders of Israel. When we have a Chag, when we have a Jewish holiday, the boys, the girls, the children, the elders, everyone comes to celebrate. ומצווה על כולנו לחוג לפניו. And this is not only because it's nice, this is the mitzvah. This is the commandment. The commandment is that everyone, you can be 2 years old, you can be a 25 years old, you can be a 95 years old, you can be a man, a woman, a child, we all celebrate together. אז, then, חרה לפרעה על הבנים והבנות. Pharaoh was very upset. You're telling me that you are taking the children? ואמר שלא ישלח חטף בשום פנים. He's not going to send the children. No way. Why? כי הם לא יסבחו. Pharaoh lives in his idol-worshipping world, and he says, the children are never involved in the religious ritual. So you really want to take them because you want to leave Mitzrayim. This is not a celebration of a holiday. Therefore, ישלח כל הזכרים הגדולים בעבור החג שאמר, וישארו הטף והנשים. Basically, Pharaoh represents the approach and the attitude that religion is only for men. Important people. There is an elite, leaders, important people, scholars, they should celebrate. That I can understand, says Pharaoh. But what? The children? The women? They should not have any part in a holiday, and therefore they should remain. So already we can sense the gap between Moshe and Paro, between a Jewish holiday and a pagan holiday. A pagan holiday focuses on the important people, on the men, where the Jewish holiday basically, intrinsically already, calls for every Jew to come and celebrate. So we will need to develop this idea. The Kli Yakar asks many questions about this verse, and we will go through some of them. And he says the following, יש בעניין זה ספקות. He says when you look at the conversation, or really the argument between Moshe and Pharaoh, he says it's very hard to understand some of the back and forth between Moshe and Pharaoh. Also, there is some kind of redundancy in the conversation. For example, en kafal mi vami. Yeah, when Pharaoh says to Moshe, mi vami haolchim, it's like, who is who? Like, that's redundant. You can say, mi haolchim. Give me a list. Who are the people that you think should go? What does it mean, mi vami? So that's question number one. Second question, ועוד ההולכים לשון הווה, אינו מתיישב. כי היה לו לומר, מי ילך, משמע להבא. כי ההולכים, משמע שהולכים עכשיו, והרי עדיין לא הלכו. Which means, the second question is, Pharaoh asked Moshe, מי ומי, that's obviously redundant, so that's question number one. Then he says, ההולכים. הולכים means now. But they are not living now. The question should have been phrased, מי ומי ילך in the future. Who shall go in the future? ועוד, a third question, בית פעמים נלך, ודאי אחד מהם מיותר, כי היה לו לומר בנערינו ובזקנינו, בבנינו ובבנותינו נלך. Then, says the Kli Yakar, there is another question. When Moshe's response to Pharaoh is, בנערינו ובזקנינו נלך, we will go with our youth and our elders, And then, בבנינו ובבנותינו נלך. We will go with our boys and our girls, with our sons and our daughters. And again, the word נלך, we shall go, is being repeated twice. So we already have 3 questions. ועוד, we have a 4th question. כי חג השם לנו והרי למעלה אמר בשם השם ויחוגו לי במדבר, משמע שיהיה חג להשם, ולא לנו. When Moshe responded to Pharaoh, he says to him, כי חג השם לנו. חג, a holiday, להשם, to Hashem, ולנו, and to us. Says the Kli Yakar, that's not true. In Hashem's original commandment to Moshe, he says, ויחוגו לי במדבר. They should celebrate for me in the desert. Not for them, for me. So how come that Moshe is adding another component to the holiday, which is basically also to us? Now, what's the difference? The difference is very simple. Chag LaHashem can be described or imagined for us that, it's a holiday that we do everything for God. We bring sacrifices, we daven, I don't know. But Chag Lanu, a holiday for us, means what? That we also enjoy, that we have family meals, that we have conversations. So what exactly Moshe is trying to do by intertwining these 2 components, Chag LaHashem, a holiday for God, and a holiday for us, both together. And then, עוד קשה, he has a 5th question. כי אותה אתם מבקשים לשון הווה. When Pharaoh was very upset, he says to Moshe, no, only the men shall go, כי אותה, because this is what you are asking for. But really, the language should say, not now you are asking for it, but you asked in the past for it. So obviously, we have a lot of questions. I will just repeat them so it will be very well organized in my mind and I hope in your minds as well. Question number 1 is, what does it mean, mi vami? It's redundant. It should say only one mi. Second question, the word holchim means now, and it should say yelchu in the future. Third, why Moshe is saying nelech, nelech, we shall go twice, when he could say it only once. Fourth question, is this invention that Moshe just invented, that the holiday has 2 components, one for Hashem, one for us. Fifth question is, when Pharaoh says to Moshe, ki ota atem mevakshim, that you request for it now, it should have said in the past. So 5 questions. Some of them, I would say, are more content-based, and some of them are more grammar-based. But 5 questions. So how do you resolve questions like that? So the Kli Yakar has a fascinating idea and suggestion to solve each one of his questions. And he says the following, וביאור לכל הספקות הללו הוא. And a solution for all those doubts and questions and challenges for the narrative, I am going to share with you right now. כי פרעה לא שאל את משה מי שילך, אלא גזר אומר שוודאי לא ילכו, כי אם הזכרים שדרכם לזבוח. Says the Kli Yakar, he says, Pharaoh didn't ask Moshe, please give me a list. He already determined, based on his experience in his religious rituals, that only the men will go to celebrate a holiday for God. Because in the pagan world, the family was not involved in any of those religious rituals. As part of the people who pray or serve their God, it's only the men. And therefore, Pharaoh, it didn't even went through his brain or went through his mind that anyone else should be involved besides the men. And therefore he asked Moshe, okay, from among the men, give me a list of specific men that we shall go to celebrate a holiday. ואמר, לכו עבדו את השם אלוקיכם, ושוטטו נא בכל קצווי העולם, ופוק חזי מה דבר, מי ומי שדרכם ללך. לכך אמר כפל, מי ומי, רצה לומר אם תימינו, אם תשמאלו, לראות בכל מקום הנהוג, מי שדרכם ללך ולזבוח. Basically, the Kli Yakar says that Pharaoh, in a way, in a cynical way, says to Moshe, look, you come in the name of this God of the Hebrews. I never heard about him. And now you come up with all these new regulations for your religion. Don't make it up. Just look around you. Look to your left, look to your right, and just see what's going on in other religions. You don't need to create a new one. Look at other religions, other pagan religions, and you will see, mi v'mi ha'olchim. Who are the people who go and celebrate a holiday for their God? It's only the men. And therefore, just give me a list of few men that you want to take, celebrate, and come back. Uvazeh miyushav. Also, if you really adopt my suggestion, says the Kli Yakar, you can also understand Leshon ha'holchim. The language that Pharaoh says to Moshe, holchim, not yelchu in the future, but going now. Because Pharaoh says to Moshe, look around you. Look at every other religion. If they have a holiday right now, who is going right now? Not in the future. Who is going now in the present times? Only the men. ומשם תראו, וכן תעשו גם אתם כפי הנהוג. Basically, Pharaoh says to Moshe, just leave it. Don't make yourself unique and special. You are not. Your religion is the same religion like anyone else. Just leave it. Don't give me any new inventions. You want to celebrate your God that I didn't hear about him? Go ahead. You know what? He's very strong. I'll submit myself to him for a little while. But don't make your own religion. והשיב משה. And Moshe replied, בנערינו ובזקנינו נלך, כפי הנראה שלפי פשוטו נלך מיותר לגמרי, והיה לו להשיב בנערינו ובזקנינו בבנינו ובבנותינו ויהיו קי על ההולכים, אלא ודאי שאינו מוסב על ההולכים. Says the Kli Yakar, what was our third question? Our third question was, why is it that Moshe repeats twice the word nelech? We shall go, we shall go. He could say, בנערינו ובזקנינו, with our youth, with our elders, with our sons, with our daughters, we shall go. One, we shall go, נלך. Why twice? He says, רצה לומר, אתה אומר לנו לילך כדרך ההולכים, שבכל העולם, אבל אנחנו לא נעשה כן. אלא בנערינו ובזקנינו נלך. והבדל נלך מן ההולכים כי לא קרב זה אל זה. אנחנו נלך מכל וכל. ולמה? כי חג השם לנו. Which means, Moshe says to Pharaoh, you are totally wrong. Our religion, this new religion that we are going to spread and establish, it's very different than all the other pagan holidays. When we say we shall go and twice, it's come to teach you that it's not only for now, for the present time, it's also in the future. Every Jewish holiday is going to involve each member of the family. No difference your gender, no difference if you are important or less important, we all come to celebrate together. Why? כי חג השם לנו. We have a mitzvah to be happy in the holiday. And what do you mean that you need to be happy in the holiday? Says the Kli Yakar, צריך להיות גם לנו. ידוע שאין שמחת האדם שלמה כי אם בזמן שאשתו ובניו וכל קניינו עמו. Says the Kli Yakar, and this is so beautiful, so simple, so obvious, but I don't think we paid really attention to it. Moshe says to Paro, a Jewish holiday is comprised with two major components. One, Chag LaHashem, a holiday that we have what I will call a religious component, prayers, sacrifices in the time of the Mikdash, of the time of the temple, religious duties, all sorts of what I will call under the category of religion and rituals. But all of our Chagim, and I know that we have the same joke, they try to kill us, God save us, let's eat. But that's true. Every holiday on the Jewish calendar involves food, family, meals together, talking to our children. The only anomaly, the only exception is Yom Kippur. Only on Yom Kippur there is no food. There is food before and there is food after, but not during the day. Even Rosh Hashanah, Day of Judgment, we have meals. At night, lunchtime. Because we believe that the Jewish holiday is comprised by these two components, Hashem and us. And it's not mutually exclusive. This is the invention. We believe that God is with us even during our holiday, and we are with Him during the holiday. God is not saved only for the synagogue, for the study hall. God is involved in our meals, and we are involved in His prayers. Chag LaHashem velanu, and therefore, there is no a select group that's going to serve God. Everyone is serving God. And how a person can reach happiness and fulfillment? When he sees his family around him. He sees his flock around him. And therefore, how can you expect me, says Moshe to Pharaoh, you want to tell the men to go and celebrate? They cannot celebrate fully. How can they celebrate when they know that their wives, their children are not with them? And therefore, says the Kli Yakar, ולכך אמר בית פעמים נלך לעשות בית חלוקות בההולכים כי נערינו וזקנינו נלך לעבוד ובבנינו ובבנותינו ילכו לשם שמחה. He says, you are correct to some extent that we will go with the men and we will go with everyone to celebrate God's part, but to create the happiness, we need everyone. חציו להשם, חציו לנו ולבנינו לשם שמחה. A true Jewish holiday is when we all get involved. I mean, look at Pesach, for example. One of the mitzvot from the Torah on Pesach is what? והיגדת לבנך. You shall talk to your children. You need to create a conversation. Yes, obviously there is the Paschal Lamb at the time of the Mikdash, when we don't have the temple now. So we have matzah, we have maror, we have the 4 cups of wine. But the mitzvah, the real mitzvah that we can fulfill is definitely what? Talking to our children. Shavuot, it's learning Torah. With whom? With family, with friends. Sukkot is a celebration of the family in the Sukkah. Rosh Hashanah, it's a day of judgment, but we all come together. Men, women, sons, daughters, boys, girls. And this is the main distinction between a Jewish holiday and a pagan holiday. We bring the family, everyone, into this religious fold of celebrating a chag, celebrating a holiday. That's according to the Kli Yakar. So if we go back to our questions, mi vami was not redundant. It was in a way a cynical comment that Pharaoh says to Moshe, okay, you want to create a religion, stop doing it. Just look around, see who go when there is a holiday and do the same. And Moshe says to him, no. You got it all wrong. We are establishing a new religion that will distinguish itself from any other religion. This is a religion for everyone. for men, for women, for boys, for girls, for the elderly and for the youngsters. It's for everyone. Everyone is expected to celebrate. Everyone is expected to take part. Everyone is expected to contribute to the avira, to the environment, to the atmosphere, to the happiness of Chag Hashem Lanu. So that's the Kli Yakar. Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch suggested a little bit of a different perspective. And he says the following. He comments on the verse, B'ne'areinu u'vizkenenu nelech, bevaneinu u'vivnoteinu nelech, which means we will go to celebrate God's festival with our children and with our elders, with everyone. Says Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, אין לנו בפני השם, לא אנשי ביניים, לא כהנים ולא נציגים. We don't have middlemen. We don't have middle people who are like in the middle between us and God. We don't have priests, we don't have representatives. Definitely not in Mitzrayim, and even later on, by the way, even at the time that there was some kind of a hierarchy, priests, Levites, Israelites, even though there was hierarchy and there was some kind of restrictions, still everyone participated. Just a prime example is the mitzvah of Aliyah LaRegel, of people going to the pilgrimage, basically going up to Yerushalayim, even if you live in Haifa, or even if you live in Babylon, you come to Yerushalayim and you celebrate all together, the entire people of Israel. Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch continues and he says, Im aleinu lalechet, if we shall go to celebrate God's festival, הרי שכולנו צריכים ללכת. We all go. מצעיר העוללים המוטל בהריסתו, ועד לאחרון הכבשים שברשותנו. Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch exaggerate the drama and he says, Pharaoh, you got it all wrong. We are taking the babies who are 1 hour old and the old sheep or lamb that is in my flock. We not leaving here anything. הכלל נמצא בתוך כל אחד ואחד מאיתנו. When we talk in Judaism about the individual, the yachid, and the klal, and the community, part of the community is in me, and part of me is in the community. I will digress here for just a second, and I will just say that this is one of the bases for this idea that we all feel of arvut, that we feel that we are like being a guarantor for another Jew, for another brother, for another sister. Because part of them is in us, and part of us is in them. Therefore, there is this link, this connection, this bond between us. אף אחד ושום דבר לא יוכל להישאר שכן חג השם לנו. We can't leave anything behind, anyone behind. We all need to go, even those who are not that interested. Even those who might be even a little foreign to the concept of celebrating God's holidays. We need them all. עלינו ליצור חוג מעגל מסביב להשם. Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch is saying something really beautiful. The Hebrew word for a holiday is chag, chet gimel. However, in Hebrew, lachug is also to create a circle. Many of you probably remember Choni HaMe'agel. Choni, who created a little circle around him, and he says to God, I'm not leaving that circle until you bring rain. That's a story in the Babylonian Talmud and in many other places regarding that person. So igul, a circle, is to take lachug, is to create a circle and to dance in a circle. So therefore, now a little bit of Hebrew. Chag is a holiday. Lachgog, to celebrate. Lachug is to create a circle. Says Rab Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, Hashem kore lanu, Hashem is calling us, להיאסף מסביבו, to gather around him. וקריאה זו היא הביטוי לרצונו לראותנו עם כל בני משפחתנו ועם כל קנייננו מסביבו. He is calling us to come together around him with everyone, with our families, with our wife, children, grandparents, grandchildren, if you are lucky, great-grandchildren, all together are coming together. And try to imagine to yourself this picture. God is, so to speak, in the middle, and family by family, tribe by tribe, all together are basically circling around God. And what's the definition of a circle? The geometric definition of a circle is that on each point on the circle, it's equally distance from the center. Unlike a line, unlike a square table, which you have someone in the head, and then you have someone in the middle, someone in the corner, when you stand on a circle, everyone has the same distance to the center. And if that's true, this is the uniqueness of a Jewish holiday. During a Jewish holiday, God invites us all. Find your place on that circle. And even if you are a scholar, or even if you are not a scholar, even if you are really involved and immersed in Judaism, or maybe you are a little bit far away, you are all on the circle. Even the Rasha, the wicked child, is there at the Seder, is there on the circle. He can easily reach to the center the same way as the most scholarly person on that circle. And this is the beauty of a Jewish holiday. According to Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, Rav Soloveitchik gives an additional insight to this discussion between Moshe and Pharaoh. And he suggested the following. Pharaoh understood the implications of the word Hebrews, Ivrim, the entire world on one side, while the Jews were on the other side. That's called Ivrim, from the word ever, one side of the river. We are here, and everyone else is on a different side. The Jews wanted to be singular, unique. Moses and Aaron wanted to establish a solitary society, a spiritually different community. Pharaoh began to warn Moses against the consequences of such venture, which means Pharaoh understood, according to Rav Soloveitchik, that Moshe and Aaron want to break away from all the other religions and to be different, to be unique, to be special. And Pharaoh says to them, to be special and to be unique, that's dangerous. I need to warn you, I'm your friend. I'm telling you, this is risky. He says to them, Pharaoh in essence was telling Moses, Re'u, look at what you are planning to create. A society which will be hated. The Jew cannot eat, cannot drink with the Gentile. He cannot enter his church. If the Gentile touches his wine, the Jew cannot drink it. The separation from society that Moses is proposing still will promote hatred. You are creating a community of martyrdom. The tragic consequences of what you are attempting to create is foretold by the star. Which means Pharaoh is saying to Moshe, I'm begging you, don't do it. When you will make your community so special and unique, they will be hated. Anti-Semitism will come up. People would look at them as foreigners, strangers, a threat. Don't do it. Earlier, Pharaoh asked Moshe, who and who are going? If you want to start such a community, why risk the lives of your children? The same argument would apply if an astronaut about to embark on space voyage wanted to take his child along. If you personally want to take the risk, that is up to you, but I will not allow you to risk your children's lives. Obviously, Rav Soloveitchik takes this discussion between Moshe and Pharaoh to a totally different realm. I don't think Pharaoh was so caring about the Jewish people. But Rav Soloveitchik, don't forget, is talking to the American crowd in the 20th century, and he's basically beginning of 21st century, but basically 20th century, and says to them, we are unique and we took a risk. When Moshe says to Pharaoh, we are all going, we understand the consequences. Yes, we are different. It's imbued in us. Does not mean we are better, but we are unique. We are different. Yes, we are willing to continue Abraham's legacy, to be ivri, to take the risks that we can stand on one side of the river and everyone else is on the other side. Perhaps even mocking us, hating us, looking at us and say, this is ridiculous, look at them. But we know that we represent the truth. And therefore, thank you, Pharaoh, for your suggestions and for your care, but we are living, all of us, our men and women, our boys and girls, our babies and our elders. The Jewish people, at that moment, reinstated what Abraham began, to be able to stand against and to stand up against the entire world, telling us, you are not unique. Or telling us your uniqueness creates this hatred. And we keep our uniqueness. Kept it for generations, and Be'ezrat Hashem will keep it for generations to come. The Lubavitcher Rebbe has yet an additional insight. And he says the following. Pharaoh indeed thought that religious life and communion with God was the exclusive province of the adult male population. That's what Pharaoh thought, which, by the way, was a common idea by all pagans. Judaism, however, insists that all sectors of the populace can and should participate in religious life and experience. As Moses put it, we will go with our young people and with our elders. We will go with our sons and with our daughters. And only thus will it be a festival of God for us. This egalitarian approach to the privileges and responsibilities of divine consciousness is especially pertinent in our generation, in as much as we are on the threshold of the messianic redemption, when the knowledge of God will become truly universal. The Lubavitcher Rebbe is basically saying, especially now, we all must be involved. Everyone should find his or her part in celebrating God. Yes, I am sure that we have halachic opinions of how much, what's the frequency, but the general idea is that everyone has a part in celebrating Chag LaHashem. Every Jew, no matter what's the gender, has responsibility to contribute his or her unique talent, unique passion, and love for Judaism in order to create a true Jewish holiday. So if we stop here and just review now, what is the uniqueness of a Jewish holiday? The uniqueness of the Jewish holiday can reveal itself in few categories. A, this incredible way to intertwine Chag LaHashem, a holiday for God, and Lanu at the same time. We are part of Him, and He is part of us. B, everyone participates. Everyone has something to contribute. A true holiday, a true simcha, is to have all your family together, which is almost every Chag. One exception, Yom Kippur. Third, the idea of being on a circle, everyone together. Having this equal distance to the center, having this opportunity to reach God, even if you are not a scholar. And the fourth one is to understand that this uniqueness causes hatred, causes some kind of lack of clarity in the eyes of many. What kind of a religion is that? That the boys and the girls and the children and the elders are all celebrating together in a meal. And it also explains how we feel this bond between us, because part of the community is in me and part of me is with the community. So, the next holiday we have, we should know, Ki Chag Hashem Lanu. It's a holiday for us and for Him together, which is a true Jewish holiday.